Sami Zayn takes Jey Uso's spot in the OG Bloodline. The WWE's rumored plans for Uncle Howdy on Raw. A former WWE employee exposes the company's unsafe work environment. The WWE's internal dress code for employees unveiled. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill have a tense backstage encounter with WWE rookies after SmackDown. Damian Priest reveals a new look after confirming his split with Rhea Ripley. AEW Urged to pull Mercedes Mone, aka Sasha Banks, from television. Vince McMahon. Compared to an iconic villain, the WWE is planning a complete Bloodline War at Survivor Series. Let's dive right in. The WWE's rumored plans for Uncle Howdy on Raw. Uncle Howdy and his Wyatt 6 faction are currently part of Monday Night Raw. While the group hasn't been heavily involved in any major storylines, recent hints and teases suggest they may soon lock in on their next target. The last time Wyatt 6 competed in the ring was on the September 9th, 2024 episode of Raw, where they beat American Made in a mixed street fight. Since then, they have yet to step back into the squared circle. Let's look at 3 superstars who Uncle Howdy and his faction could target on next week's episode of Raw. Number 1. Uncle Howdy might next target The Miz on Raw. One of the most favorable stars Uncle Howdy might target next is The Miz. The A-lister recently turned heel by betraying his partner, R-Truth, on the Red brand. Since then, fans have seen instances where Wyatt 6 glitches occurred during Miz's backstage segments and even once during his match against R-Truth. These glitches strongly suggest that The Miz is on the radar of Uncle Howdy and Wyatt 6. Additionally, during the faction's initial promos, Bo Dallas expressed his disdain for people who betray their friends for personal gain. Since the A-lister did exactly that by betraying R-Truth, it makes perfect sense for Wyatt 6 to target him next, as they prepare to punish him for his actions. Number 2. A feud between Karrion Kross and Howdy might be the next move. Since The Miz turned heel, he has been involved with Karrion Kross and the Final Testament. During one of their backstage segments, Wyatt 6 glitches appeared, suggesting that not only the A-lister but also Kross could be on Uncle Howdy's radar. This creates a realistic possibility that Karrion Kross could emerge as Wyatt 6's next victim on the upcoming episode of Raw. A feud between Kross and Howdy could be a great direction for both factions, providing an intriguing storyline for the Red brand. Number 3. Howdy has teased targeting a surprise name. Just a few days ago, the official Wyatt 6X/Twitter account hinted at their next target. They posted a glitchy image with the bold message "liar" on it, and the caption ended with "You will all burn." When fans began decoding the meaning behind the post, they concluded that it was aimed at Paul Ellering. Since Ellering is aligned with the Final Testament, he also appears to be on the radar of this horror faction. It wouldn't be surprising if Howdy takes down Ellering in the upcoming episode of the Monday Night Show. A former WWE employee exposes the company's unsafe work environment. WWE has seen substantial changes in recent years, particularly in its leadership and creative direction, but stories revealing its internal operations and workplace culture continue to emerge. However, a former WWE writer revealed troubling details about the company's toxic work environment, adding to the growing story of behind-the-scenes dysfunction. A recent Rolling Stone article titled "Inside the WWE Writers' Room, A Kingdom Ruled by Fear" has garnered significant attention, offering a revealing look into the culture within WWE. The article, which includes interviews with multiple former WWE writers, paints a troubling picture of the company's internal environment. One writer, who chose to stay anonymous, said she felt uncomfortable as a woman because of how the male writers often sexualized the female wrestlers. When they weren't doing that, they would make fun of them. On the one hand, this is the product in the story, but on the other hand, I feel like we're not talking about the story anymore. The undertones are dangerous, and what they wanted in their environment scared me. I felt like an object. I felt there's no way I could be in this boys' club. Another former writer described feeling controlled through subtle, yet inappropriate physical interactions in the workplace. Although the behavior wasn't overtly sexual, it involved unnecessary touches, like being pulled closer by her waist, creating an uncomfortable and unprofessional atmosphere. They would touch me where they would have me come closer to them, she claims. They would pull me by my waist to come somewhere or move closer to them. I'm just super aware that it's kind of close to my butt, and most people don't touch me by the waist ever. I thought, this is strange. Several women writers have spoken out about feeling uncomfortable while working at WWE. 2 of them reported their concerns to HR, which led to a Zoom meeting in 2020. During this meeting, the affected women were able to share their grievances. One writer mentioned being emotional during the meeting because they felt unsafe at work. However, another attendee claimed WWE didn't take their concerns seriously and that the meeting seemed like an attempt to calm the situation rather than make real changes. A former writer also mentioned that a male senior staff member told them, "Come to me if you have a problem," but they felt it was insincere. The writer explained that this person was part of the problem, as they had enabled Vince McMahon's behavior. "Come to me if you have a problem," which is such be because he's part of the problem too. He enabled Vince with everything that he did. Nonetheless, things are clearly better in WWE right now with Vince McMahon's departure, and fans and employees alike are happy about his exit. Are you surprised by these revelations brought forth by the writers? The WWE's internal dress code for employees unveiled. WWE creative team members face significant pressure to produce high-quality content for the company's programming. Along with their responsibilities behind the scenes, they are also required to adhere to a strict dress code while on the job. According to a document obtained by Rolling Stone, WWE mandated that male employees wear suits, while female employees were required to wear skirts, dresses, or pantsuits. Additionally, all employees were instructed to keep their shoes shined at all times. For years, it has been known that WWE enforces a dress code, especially for its superstars, who are expected to arrive at events in business attire. In the past, fines have been issued to those who failed to comply with this policy. WWE has long maintained a professional environment, and part of that involves ensuring that employees, including the creative team, dress in a manner that reflects the company's image. This recent report sheds light on the specific expectations placed on backstage staff regarding their appearance. The document referenced by Rolling Stone could be from a time before Triple H assumed control of WWE's creative direction, so it is unclear whether the dress code has changed under his leadership. As WWE continues to tour and produce live television, the expectations for both performance and presentation remain high for employees across the company, including the creative team. The dress code is just one part of the company's broader professional standards. What do you think of WWE's dress code? Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill have a tense backstage encounter with WWE rookies after SmackDown. The WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill have a target on their backs. Several tandems are pursuing the duo's gold. Belair and Cargill were at ringside this week as Lash Legend made her singles debut on SmackDown. Legend faced Piper Niven in a one-on-one bout. The contest was short as the debuting superstar made quick work of Niven and emerged victorious. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson were on SmackDown Lowdown after the show doing an interview. The two stars were talking trash about Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair when the champs walked in on them. This led to a heated exchange between the tag teams, and Cargill almost came to blows with Lash. "We need to go ahead and address that the WWE Tag Team Champions were spying on us. Did you see that?" Lash said. During a recent episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Bro Down on Backstage Pass, former WWE writer Vince Russo spoke about the impact of having Lash Legend on the same roster as Cargill. Russo pointed out that Big Jade was a physical specimen, and now WWE had a similar star in Lash Legend. He felt this would take the shine away from the former TBS champion. "This Lash Legend, bro, she's a monster. We got a monster in Jade Cargill. Why are we having two monsters?" Russo continued. "Why would you have another monster when Cargill is a monster? Because now, as big and impressive as Lash Legend is, that is going to take away from Jade Cargill. It will be interesting to see whether Cargill and Belair defend their title against Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson in the coming weeks." Damian Priest reveals a new look after confirming his split with Rhea Ripley. Former Judgment Day member Damian Priest was rocking a new look in his recent Instagram story. The Archer of Infamy has shaved off his beard as per his story. Priest recently picked up a massive win over his former Judgment Day stablemate, Finn Balor, at WWE Bad Blood 2024. He also talked about splitting with Rhea Ripley and the duo going on their own moving forward. In a new Instagram story, Damian Priest can be seen showing off his new look. The former World Heavyweight Champion has shaved off his beard, as can be seen in the screen grab. During the Bad Blood 2024 post-show press conference, Damian Priest opened up about his on-screen partnership with Rhea Ripley and explained why they needed to split up. Here's what he said. "While it was fun as far as doing it with your friends and whatnot, at the same time, there is something to, all right, now I'm here, let's see what I can do on my own. I love Rhea. That's my best friend in the world. Obviously, she's in the women's division, I'm in the men's division. Although we're friends, we have to follow our own path. The Archer of Infamy and Mommy have been the best of friends for years on end at this point. They share an incredibly special bond in real life and consider each other family." Priest was heartbroken when he saw Dominic Mysterio betray Ripley at SummerSlam 2024 by kissing Liv Morgan following her match. The Terror Twins then kicked off a feud with Dirty Dom and Morgan on the road to the Bash in Berlin 2024 Premium Live event. At the event, Priest and Ripley picked up a massive win over Dominic and Liv. AEW urged to pull Mercedes Mone, aka Sasha Banks, from television. Mercedes Mone has made a significant impact on AEW since joining, quickly establishing herself as a key figure in the promotion. Despite her many accomplishments within the company, AEW has been urged to pull her from television as well. As for Mercedes Mone possibly being the highest paid women's wrestler in the world right now, the CEO of AEW made it clear that she feels she more than deserves this privilege, as she has worked very hard to make it to that level in the first place. While speaking on Busted Open Radio, Nick Nemeth talked about Mercedes Mone's current role in AEW and suggested that AEW should pull her from television for a while, so that fans will be shocked once she is back and become excited about her again. Even if you cheered for them 9.5 out of 10, when wrestlers come back and make that return, catch you off guard, or you're excited about the return, it becomes a 10 out of 10. That really helps the product stay fresh for everybody. The TBS champion, as well as the NJPW Women's Strong champion, will continue to be a highlight of AEW television, so it's unlikely she will be pulled from television anytime soon, if at all. Mone is currently feuding with Chris Statlander, so it remains to be seen how AEW will book the feud in the coming weeks. Do you believe Mercedes Mone should be pulled from AEW television? Vince McMahon, compared to an iconic villain. The much-anticipated Mr. McMahon documentary, released last month, has definitely intrigued wrestling fans by revealing numerous details about Vince McMahon's controversial life and career. While the film delves into McMahon's impact on the industry and his complex persona, an interesting comparison has emerged. The Netflix docuseries on Vince McMahon has created lots of discussions about the former WWE chairman and his controversial actions during his time in power. The series delved into several sensitive issues, including Sable's sexual harassment case, McMahon's attempts to defend himself against past assault allegations, and also him claiming his mind has several computers running at the same time. During an episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored, veteran journalist and longtime WWE critic Phil Mushnick expressed his opinion on Vince McMahon, comparing him to one of fiction's most infamous villains, Hannibal Lecter. Mushnick, known for his outspoken critiques of McMahon, shared that his view of the WWE chairman is shaped by years of research and interviews with individuals connected to the wrestling industry. He also highlighted Bruno Sammartino as an admirable figure, but characterized McMahon as a figure resembling Lecter, hinting at a disturbing personality. My empirical knowledge, my knowledge based on research, based on interviews and interviews with really good people. I've met some wonderful people. Bruno Sammartino was one of the most noble people I have met because he told the truth. But based on what I know of Vince McMahon, he's the closest thing to the fictional character, Hannibal Lecter, I've ever met, Mushnick said. He is that sick. I think he is a sociopath. Hannibal Lecter, the cannibalistic character, first appeared in the 1986 film Manhunter, and later became widely recognized through Anthony Hopkins' portrayal in The Silence of the Lambs. Regardless, many people feel Vince McMahon is one of the worst human beings in existence, and that's unlikely to change anytime soon. Do you believe Vince McMahon being compared to Hannibal Lecter is accurate? The WWE is planning a complete Bloodline War at Survivor Series. The faction has been undergoing a civil war of sorts after Roman Reigns returned at SummerSlam earlier this year. Solo Sikoa has made it clear that he will not relinquish his position as the tribal chief. The new Bloodline has become more vicious than ever and even attacked Roman Reigns last week. This week on the Blue Brand, Solo offered Roman a chance to acknowledge him and claimed that the beatdown would continue if the star didn't comply. On the latest episode of Smack Talk, Bill Apter spoke about this week's segment, in which Jey Uso was confronted with the idea of rejoining Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns to take down Solo Sikoa and his associates. He felt that it would eventually happen, and the two factions would possibly square off in a major matchup at Survivor Series. It was very well done. You could tell that Jey, once again, sincerely didn't want any part of them. But we know it's gotta happen down the line. My feeling is that we're going to have a complete Bloodline War probably at the Survivor Series. That's where I think they're going with this. At the end of SmackDown, Solo Sikoa and his henchmen dished out a beatdown on Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso for the second time in 2 weeks. It will be interesting to see if Roman and Jimmy manage to get some retribution on the Bloodline in the coming weeks. Sami Zayn takes Jey Uso's spot in the OG Bloodline. The Bloodline saga continues to captivate the WWE Universe with its ongoing drama. During the latest episode of SmackDown, Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso once again fell victim to the numbers game of the new Bloodline. Reigns and Jey Uso were involved in a backstage segment, but it ended with the Yeet Master ignoring the original tribal chief. Despite this rejection, Reigns still needs an ally by his side to combat the Bloodline, which consists of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. One potential star who could take Jey Uso's place is former honorary use Sami Zayn. The 40-year-old star joined the faction during his last heel run in the company. Even though Sami was a villainous character at the time, his role as a member of the Bloodline was loved by fans. Interestingly, Zayn was the one who initially betrayed the original Bloodline, which ultimately led to the Usos turning against Roman Reigns. Now that the original tribal chief has turned babyface and needs allies, he might turn to Sami Zayn for help in this ongoing war against Sikoa's group. The head of the table and Jimmy could attempt to reconcile with Zayn and apologize for their previous actions, which might lead Sami to forgive them and side with Reigns in a potential Bloodline civil war. As of now, the underdog from the underground is not involved in any interesting storyline on Raw. He recently suffered a loss to Gunther in a World Heavyweight Championship match on the Red brand. Therefore, bringing Zayn back to SmackDown to side with Reigns would be a compelling direction, especially after Jey Uso refused to ally with Roman. It remains to be seen how things will unfold in the coming weeks, and whether Sami will take Jey's spot in the original Bloodline. If the scenario unfolds, WWE has the option to book Sami Zayn in a tag team match against the Bloodline. Currently, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are the WWE Tag Team Champions on SmackDown, and they are set to defend their titles against the winners of the match between DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns. If the Bloodline manages to overcome their next challengers and Sami reunites with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso, WWE could set up a title match featuring Zayn. Both Sami and Jimmy had great chemistry during their time in the heel faction, so they could team up to dethrone Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. This would not only bring the gold back to the original Bloodline, but also show that Roman Reigns wants to take everything away from Solo Sikoa in this ongoing warfare.